One question I've seen on in the comment section is, what about practicing sports, or maybe even just having a job which is more demanding physically in persons who have suffered from ENS. I will just share with you this example, and also maybe watch my other videos where I explain that persons with ENS will start to dehydrate chronically, constantly during the day, and you will never notice it during the first years. So it's a problem. So where physical exercise or physical work, intense work, even just light physical work, spending time outside, outdoors, even worse in dry and warm, hot weather, this will cause the body to lose humidity. And my experience so I'm in 15 years now with ENS, 15 years since the surgery, so it did develop during this time. What happened with my lungs is that my lungs, because they stay dry, often just more dry than a normal person because this nostril dryness. I give you an example. One day, I don't remember exactly why I went to do this test, probably related to the nose blockage and so nostril dryness. So one day I went to do a test. I think it was something like a breathing test at a hospital by a medical team, which basically they put me on a treadmill and they put a sort of a mask covering my mouth and my nose, and they were measuring as I was exercising. They were measuring the volume of air, oxygen, carbon dioxide. They were basically evaluating my respiration, my breathing during exercise, because the exercise was getting more and more intense. So they were just kind of measuring also, I don't know, my metabolism or whatever they measure. So what happened is that I started running on a treadmill, and I don't remember exactly the time. It was a couple of minutes. All of a sudden, I felt like someone was strangling me. I was choking. All of a sudden, so I was breathing. I wasn't tired. I was breathing, and all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. All of a sudden. So they stopped the exercise, obviously, right away. Now, the person there, the doctors, you perhaps are already aware, doctors don't understand this condition. Moreover, they don't understand the consequences, the other side effects of this condition, which I explain in detail in several videos. There's many things, I'm not repeating this here. So the person who was in that room, who was evaluating me, said, "Oh, you are not training yourself enough, so you are very weak. You cannot do exercising because you don't train regularly." Blah blah. He didn't believe me when I said this is not normal to all of a sudden to feel like just someone is putting a pillow on my face. All of a sudden. So wasn't tired, wasn't breathing heavily before, just he didn't believe me, obviously, because he didn't know the condition. But what happens, this is my interpretation, if you want, my logical deductions, is that the lungs, because of this constant dryness, because the nostril being dry doesn't provide that normal humidity inside your lungs. The lungs, after a while, they may change their internal morphology, even if it's just at a small scale. They don't change in shape necessarily. So what I believe it happens is basically my lungs would either collapse or just, I don't know, maybe the dryness will cause them to kind of have a constrictions, like squeeze, or it's impossible. I didn't feel anything inside the lungs themselves. It's just that I couldn't breathe all of a sudden. So this was my experience with this kind of, if you want, exercising, which is fairly intense at that point. And I did feel about the same thing. Now I start jogging a little bit, running in the morning a little bit. I cannot do it much. But was my experience as well when I would just run and all of a sudden, more during a couple of seconds I just could not breathe any longer, so I stopped at that point. So this is the issue. This is what my experience is with exercising. At some point you just can no longer breathe. Then you need to stop and obviously just relax and recover your breath, basically. That's the condition. I guess the lungs being not being dry or not getting the normal humidity, they just cannot, something happens at some point. I don't know, maybe a lung specialist will know better, but they don't believe you, and I don't want to get through more exams at this point. So this is my answer for this question. And also I just want to point out that I had not similar, but also something strange, a strange reaction from my lungs when I wake up. Rarely now, but before would happen more. So when I wake up at night and I feel, oftentimes when this happens, my nostrils will be dry and blocked. This happened to me a few times. I'll describe this in another video. When I just basically I don't eat in the evening. I don't eat in the afternoon and evening. I usually don't eat anything. But a few times I was so hungry that I ate something, and that night I had this problem. So I would wake up with my nostrils very blocked and dry, and the sensation inside the lungs. First, I had the sensation right after waking up that I wasn't breathing. I cannot explain to you this. It's just I don't know what was happening when I was asleep, but right when I woke up in the middle of the night, I just felt like my body wasn't breathing, and I felt that the lungs were. It's just words. I don't know how to explain it. My lungs were dry, a sensation. I did not feel any kind of air inside my lungs, and perhaps the more weird thing is, if I would just let my body breathe, my body would not breathe. So the breathing, it's a normal reflex, it's automatic. You don't force yourself to breathe. You don't force yourself to get air inside your lungs, or it's hell. It's done automatically. My body wasn't doing it. So what I had to do at that point, I had to force myself to breathe. I would do something like this. And I had to do it quite intense because my lungs felt dry, and I just felt like I didn't have oxygen. So I had to keep going on like this for several minutes. Actually, what I would do, I just go outside, go out to the home in the middle of the night and walk by the street. And after, depends, few minutes or 5-10 minutes, depends how bad it was, I would feel again my nostrils getting wet a little bit, humid, and I would feel again the air getting inside my lungs. I would have that feeling. So I do breath until I get this feeling. I would force basically breath by myself doing this kind of, you're just practicing, you're flexing your muscle. Basically it's a big muscle called diaphragm underneath the lungs. I would just activate this muscle by myself for 5-10 minutes until I feel again the air gets inside the lungs, the fresh air if you want, and then my body would start breathing normally by itself, basically. So yes, I guess this is also related. That's why I'm linking this to the sport question or exercising question. This is related with the lungs getting really dry at that moment when I was asleep at that point in night. And yes, it's a weird sensation. Oftentimes I would have weird dreams, which I'll explain in another video, very anxious dreams. And yes, so this is a situation that happened to me lately only when I would eat something because I would be very hungry. I would eat something in the evening, which I normally no longer do for a couple of years now. So you see, this is related to the food. Just like I said in another video, this is one of the main topic on my channel about diet. So there is, just watch those videos between to get what's the link between diet, food, and nostril dryness. Basically, how you can improve, get your nostrils to be more humid if you had this ENS problem, by having a diet and by having specific hours for eating. Basically not eating many hours during the afternoon and evening. Just watch my others videos.